Left Wing Kings. Listen, think, act, repeat. Welcome to the Left Wing King podcast. Today we're diving into the 5 Trump cabinet picks who will make Project 2025 a reality. I'm your HMIC, your head moderator in charge, Malik, and I'm joined today by King Ace.
What up? What up?
King Steve.
What's going on?
And Queen Tina on those comments. All right. Let me break down how this show works, y'all. We're going to go over all of our topics, and once we're done, we'll circle back and respond to some of your comments and questions in the live stream chats from Facebook and YouTube. Then after that, we'll take a few phone calls. I won't share the call-in number until we're ready to take those phone calls. Y'all got it? Let's get it. Over the past few months, Donald Trump has vehemently denied any involved Project 2025, but his cabinet picks have had surprisingly close relationships to the project. So today we're going to discuss the cabinet picks, Project 2025 contributions, and what that means for the offices that they might be leading under the Trump administration. I'm going to start off with Russ Vought. Donald Trump picked Russ Vought to serve as the director of the Office of Management and Budget. Vought, who served in his role during Trump's first term, is a key architect of Project 2025. His appointment signals a strong commitment to conservative fiscal policies. Ace, what fiscal policies from Project 2025 will Vought implement?
He's going to go directly in and try to dismantle the bureaucracy of the federal government. His main job is to go in and reshape that federal government. In other words, what Project 2025 talked about initially, we talked about this in several shows leading up to the election and where we're at right now. Their main job is to get in there, and they want to centralize the executive branch to where only one person has power, and that's Donald Trump. So the way they're going to do that is they're going to downsize and eliminate any departments that they think are going to get in their way, or they think that it's unjust. This is guy as the architect who wrote that. He actually wrote in, people don't know what it is, pages 244, which talks about power that they want to give to the presidency when it comes to this. He honestly believes that appointed officials should have more loyalty to the president than they do to the country and to the organization that they represent. Yeah, so he's the guy that's going in here and he wants to reshape the whole government. And the way they say that is he's going after the deep state. You know what I'm saying? So deep state's in other words of saying some of the things or some of the safeguards that were put together. And we can take this all the way back to FDR, when FDR came out with a New Deal. Some of the safeguard programs are put together that protect us as citizens. That's what they're going to go after. And they're going to give him powers to make decisions on top of that. And this is the guy that's going to do it.
And those safeguards actually make it so when you go from president to president that you have some cohesiveness. Mm-hmm. So some of these things you're going to feel now, and then you're going to feel later on when Trump is no longer in office.
Yeah.
These are appointments that are going to have lasting implications, because they are going to tear everything down. So that's where the danger comes from. If you have a situation where you have somebody and they come in and they do some stuff you don't agree with, in the next 4 years, stuff goes back to the way it was, that's different than breaking how everything has been done fundamentally since we became a country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, we're not playing by the same rules anymore. And I think a lot of voted didn't understand that this guy's not coming in here to keep the American way or the American lifestyle going. He's coming in to wreck shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And to do that, grab as much power as he can when he does it. And this is one of the power moves that he's making. Hey, all the little things that you get as citizens, I want to be the one to make a decision if that's worthy or not. And I'm going to get rid of all the programs and all the departments to do that. And this guy's primary job is to come in here. Russ Vought is coming here to gut it. Hell, he literally wrote the book on the shit. Yes, you know what I'm saying? Yes. So it's crazy. July, and I've had conversations with people on the other side. They say, hey, well, you know what, man? He's not Project 2025. He's not part of that. July, he said that. Look at, I don't know what Project 2025 is. funny, everybody you appointed so far are the authors of Project 2025,
including the vice president.
It's in play. Project 2025 is in play, and come January 20th, we're gonna just see exactly how much it's in play. So,
yeah, I mean, I think that, and this might sound funny coming from a Democrat like myself, but I think the way that ever happened was we got 4 years away from Trump, because during the 4 years when Biden was president, he got a chance to look at everything he didn't like when Trump got a chance to look at everything he didn't like when he was president. Took all of these recommendations for these people to be in, but now I know who will be loyal to me, and I can try at this. And it's 4 years later, 4 years chance to plan and plot, put together this project. He can put all of his pawns into place that he can go ahead and attack the parts of the government that he doesn't like, and he's doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what he wasn't joking. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's what the right always likes to tell. Oh man, he was just joking when he said that. When Charlottesville, he was joking. You know, all the crazy stuff he said, he's just joking. He wasn't joking when it came to this Project 2025. He wants solid power. They wonder why we call him Hitler. Well, look at Germany in 1930s. They did the same thing. The first thing they did, first order of business, was to wreck the government and centralize power. Yeah. First thing they did. Next thing they're going to do is they're going to try to make the Senate obsolete, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? These are all things that he said he was going to do. Day one dictating, which means that day one, I'm going to come in, I'm going to wreck everything and pretty much give myself all the power that I need. And he's putting the people in play to do that.
Yeah. And with Russ Vought being the director of the Office of Management and Budget, is like you said earlier, if there's something that Trump doesn't like, all you got to do is call them up and say, cut their budget, slash their money, make sure that they don't have any money so they can't operate, cripple them. Right. And that is a key piece in his whole puzzle. Like if he has control over like the money that these people get, and he has somebody in place that'll do whatever he says, everybody has to kneel and kiss the ring, because if they don't, their area won't get any money. And somebody else that can impact us in a big way, as far as from a communication standpoint, is his FCC pick, Brendan Carr. So Donald Trump nominated Brendan Carr for the chair of the Federal Commissions, for the chair of the Federal Communications Commission. Carr, a current FCC commissioner, authored the Project 2025 chapter on it. His focus on promoting transparency aligns closely with the project goals. Steve, what communication policies will Carr pursue to rein in big tech and other parts of our media?
Well, what you're going to see is they said they wanted transparency. They want transparency when it comes to the left. What the right does is whatever. And you're going to definitely see a shift for right-leaning things. You're going to definitely see also, you heard Trump talk about a revenge tour. From what I have seen, from what I've read, anytime, this guy talks about stuff, it is, well, the Democrats or the left is able to do this. Why? That's not fair. That's not right. And I definitely think that you're going to see transparency, free speech and everything when it comes to the right, and censorship when it comes to the left. And you're going to see Elon Musk make a lot of money off of Starlink, because that was one of the things that it's all up. That part to me it's a money grab and it's censorship. It's with most of these Trump appointments, that's the thing. You're going to have oligarchs, just like in Russia and places like that, where certain going to make a ridiculous amount of money off of this administration. And then you're going to have censorship so that these people can keep that money and keep their power.
Yeah, I mean, that's a conflict of interest. Elon Musk, which is also in his cabinet, also owns a big social media platform. Now they got the guy in place that could censor other social media platforms and allow him to do what he needs to do. I mean, I think the last time I checked with the government was up social media's ass. You know what I'm saying? And making them regulate stuff because, of course, it's out of control. Now we got the one guy that should be able to do that is now a Trump loyalist. Hell, he wrote the book in Project 2025, pretty much stating, once again, giving him centralized power to pick and choose who he wants to allow to say what they want to say and do what they need to do. And Elon Musk is right there involved with that, you know. So if he doesn't like Zuckerberg or whatever he's doing, or Zuckerberg doesn't play ball, goodbye Facebook, or we're gonna censor the hell out of you, or we're gonna find the shit out of you, whatever. Or we're gonna control your purse strings. Once again, a play to give Trump absolute power. Once again, on a lot of regulated agencies that were there to protect the American people.
Yeah. And we're also going to be looking at a lack of safety for the traditional networks because you're not going to be able to give a fair and unbalanced assessment of the news if the fair and unbalanced assessment of the news is saying, hey, what's going on right now is a shit show and Trump is doing a horrible job, but it's a fair and unbalanced assessment. And that's what's happening. And that's the truth. That is fair and unbalanced. People that like that. But if you look at something, you say, I'm just calling it like I see it, the way that somebody who was looking at it objectively would see it differently. Sometimes it just is what it is. And I think that we have gotten away from now. It's like, oh, well, both sides, sometimes both sides ain't right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I mean, it's like Russia. Like when Russia spends the Ukraine order, they people. They don't tell them, hey, you know what? We decided to invade Ukraine for whatever reasons. They tell them, hey, man, they got a lot of hookers and thieves and drug addicts over there. And that's why we had to attack them because they're going to attack Russia or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So sounds like our government's going to start spin doctrine shit like that now, especially with this guy in charge.
Yeah, I think like one aspect of the whole thing that we want to also make sure that we tell our viewers and listeners about is that this is going to impact communications as a whole, whether you're talking about the news, whether you're talking about social media, whether you're talking about news papers or whatever. There was at several rallies, Trump has stated that he thinks that there should be a law or they should remove the law that makes it legal for newscasters not to report their sources. Do you know what that would do? To our news, we would not have a lot of the information that we try to get because a lot of information we get is from sources who do not want to be divulged because they're going to get in trouble by, they fear retaliation. Right.
They fear losing their job.
That's a big thing. Like, do you don't think that this man is going to like follow up on that shit and make sure that law gets repealed or however they're going to handle it? I don't know.
I'm trying to find a loophole around it, one or the other, but definitely. But once again, just a big power grab that he said he was going to do in every rally. Every time he got a camera in his face, he said he was going to do it, and he's putting the people in position. The actual people he said he didn't know back in July.
Yeah,
he knows them now.
Yeah, he knows. I think he knows them very well. And what I know is that y'all need to click that like button. Okay, so make sure that you click on that like button. And also subscribe to Left Wing King so that you don't miss any of our live streams or all of our content that we upload to YouTube all week long. And make sure that you share this content on all of your social media platforms. So with that being the case, man, there's a big deal that been a lot of conversations lately too around immigration. And that's who we want to talk about next is his choice for the border czar, Tom Homan. Donald Trump selected Tom Homan as his choice for border czar, which does not require Senate confirmation. Homan is known for his hardline stance on immigration. His role in Project 2025's border security chapter makes him a pivotal figure in executing the administration's immigration policies. Ace, based on what we've seen in Project 2025, what impact will this pick have on immigration enforcement and border security?
Ooh, Tom Homan, right? I mean, one thing he is experienced, 30 years in immigration. He's been, he led ICE the last time he was in the Trump administration. He used the terms when they asked him about his plans. He used shock and awe. Last time we heard shock and awe.
That's some
Iraq?
scary shit.
That's the goddamn Iraq war, bro. That's Bush. Shock and awe. That's what we used against the enemy, bro. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about doing this to American citizens. I don't have a nicer word to say.
Well,
other
let's
than,
make sure that we correct that, because we're talking about doing it to immigrants and American citizens.
That's what I'm saying. Well, immigrants and American citizens. He said that. So pretty much, I'm saying that. I mean, I'm using that not loosely. I'm using the words that he actually said. I mean, it's what he said here. I don't understand it. I mean, even Trump, when he first saw this guy, says that guy looks hard, which means he's an asshole. That's basically where he put it. Every interview I see, the dude's just got asshole tendencies. I mean, he's not put there help us manage the immigration problem that we've been having for decades here in this country. He's here just strictly to go in and remove it. We put the bull into the glass, pretty much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's no way, ifs, ands, buts about it. Back when they wanted to make him border czar in like 2018 or whatever, he actually didn't want to go through the confirmation process, so he bowed out of it. So that brings up question: is what is he hiding? What's in his background? I think that he's just tied to and he's been on it. I don't think he's even dodged. He's tied and embedded with a lot of far right extreme groups, and he's pushing the policies that they actually do. Him and along with Steve Miller. We'll get into that a little bit later. But he's definitely wanting to go after undocumented citizens, but even if they're law abiding, So Steve probably knows a little bit more about this. He talks about it a lot. But we have a lot of people in this country that they are documented immigrants, but they're law abiding. So they pay taxes and they do things like that. He don't care. He wants to get rid of them, and he's hoping that y'all are related to him. I tell Hispanic friends of mine this all the time. I said, dude, they're not using a scalpel. They're using an axe when they come in to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And they ain't got time to ask no questions. You know what I'm saying? If you have anybody in your family that has questionable immigration status, they going. And guess what? You might go with them. They might write the laws to make that happen. And this is the guy that wants to do that here. He's quite a character. He's he's gonna be the one to enforce that they're gonna pass. He's definitely the sword in that. So criminalizing immigration, making it a crime, like if you're entering illegal, which it is a crime, but usually that's not processed. Like we don't send people to prison for that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We usually deport them or whatever, but he's trying to do that. And once again, he's the guy who actually proposed the Family Separation Act back in 2014. He wanted to do that to deter people from coming here. Like, you come here, we're gonna break up you and your kids.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's Tom Homan.
Yeah, and a lot of those things are going to cost people money. This is going to affect. This is one of those appointments where, on paper, you might say this isn't going to affect me one way or the other because I'm not an immigrant.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to cost you money, because when they start getting people who they might be undocumented, but they might be working a job. Okay. They might be working a job that supplies something for you. So if you have a person who is owning a legitimate business, they own a landscaping company and they're doing good for themselves. Okay. But maybe they're not doing good enough for themselves to get their paperwork together, but they're employing people. Okay. If this person gets deported, then his family loses out. If his family maybe he's married to an American or something, his family no longer has their source of income. Okay. His employees no longer have a source of income. Okay. If this happens enough, within the price of that product is going to go up. So then you're going to have getting your lawn done by somebody is going to be considerably more expensive. When you talk about the agriculture industry, you're going to see food prices go up significantly from these types of appointments. So when you look at these appointments, I want y'all to think about it. This is not an abstract thing. These are things that are going to affect you as a citizen, not, oh, well, this is somebody else's problem. People, this is your problem.
Exactly.
I know I can say any better, no better than that. I mean, I've already said that Trump's putting together the Legion of Doom, and these guys are just enforcing that completely. I'm talking about real life villains here, guys. I'm talking about guys that are coming after people, truly going to take the power that they have and abuse it. Like I said, they're not using the scalpel, guys. That was the approach of the last administration, to try to go through and dissect and see what's what.
Yeah.
These guys just pretty much saying, hey, if you fit the description, you're getting out of here. And then we'll figure it out once we deport you or put you in jail or whatever. We'll figure that out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
it's funny that you bring that up, because in El Salvador now they have like this new, well, it's not new, but it's a few years old, and they've been rounding up cartel members, gangs, or whatever, and putting them in these like supermax jails that they have out there. That. And they have admitted that they have locked up about 3,000 or 4,000 people who they had to release because they weren't part of the cartel, but they had tattoos or they had long hair or whatever, and they looked like they were. And they interviewed those people, and unfortunately, some of them were like, you know what? Well, I'm glad that it happened, that the policy is here. I'm just not happy that I got swept up in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might like the policy that, hey, they're gonna deport these illegal immigrants out of our country, but once your ass gets swept up in it, you ain't gonna like it, because to your point, they're not going to be meticulous about it, and they're not going to use a scalpel and go in and try to make sure they grab people that look like they fit the bill, and they send you out of here. You ain't traveling with your birth certificate on your hip, okay, and your citizenship papers, unless you are a legal immigrant, and you got to have that stuff with you. So be careful out there what you wish for, because now you're getting it, and it might impact you in a bad way. And another thing that we might get impacted in a bad way is our national intelligence, because, it might be a good way, because John Ratcliffe's coming. So let's talk about him. Donald Trump nominated John Ratcliffe to serve as the director of the CIA. Ratcliffe, the former director of national intelligence, contributed to Project 2025 intelligence chapter. His appointment underscores a focus on strengthening national security and intelligence operations. Steve, knowing what's in Project 2025's intelligence chapter, what actions do you expect Ratcliffe to take while he's the CIA?
To me, it's an unknown, because to his credit, when everything was going on January the 6th and all the election disinformation and everything, he did speak up and say, hey, maybe we shouldn't go this route. He told Trump that this is going to affect your legacy. This isn't a good idea. That being said, Trump invited him back, and if Trump invited him back, that probably means he's going to have to kiss the ring. He's not going to be able to get around that. Something that you saw in the previous Trump administration was other intelligence agencies from other countries being slow to even give information to the U.S. because they were afraid that information would leak. They were afraid that Trump would say something to someone that he shouldn't say. So having somebody who is closely aligned to Trump in charge of the CIA is not going to be a good thing, even though I will say this is a person who does have experience. This is a person who on paper is actually probably qualified, and he could have picked somebody worse. He's not a totally bad guy, but what I see with somebody like Ratcliffe is I worry about the weaponization of the CIA. And we saw stuff like that happen with J. Edgar Hoover, how he was looking, up stuff for the Black Panthers. He was looking up stuff for Malcolm X. He was looking up stuff for Cesar Chavez, that type of thing. Okay. So I really do think that that's what you're going to see. You're going to see the weaponization of the CIA, and they're going to start really looking into us.
J. Edgar Hoover style. You're talking about like was my man Fred Hampton and all that in the 60s, how the government was assassinating people and just wrecking things as they go. Yeah, it's crazy where this country is headed. And Ratcliffe, like you say, even though he's kind of experienced, Trump is putting in loyalists and people that are going to do what he needs said and done. Director of the CIA, we really want that guy. Now, I mean, there's a mandate to where the CIA doesn't operate on American soil. But that's going to change. You know what I'm saying? Especially with this guy going after his enemies, he's going to want all the dirt and whatever. CIA probably has it, and like that, then CIA snakes people. That's what they do. I'm saying usually officials or some other people's governments, whatever they do the dirty work. Now you're gonna put that on the out here. I mean, sure, I look at Lioness, what I'm saying, and other things and all that good stuff. So scary stuff. And even though this guy, like you said, they had some pushback last time, like you said, he had 4 years to kind of determine who he's going to bring in here. This time we gave him a 4 year. He's got a 4 year break to where let me get the right people in the right places going to do what I need to do. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that guy exists anymore. The guy that was going to fight back with him 4 years ago. I don't think he would even make the agenda or the phone call or even make the interview down to Mar-a-Lago. He's putting cast the characters that are going to do his bidding on what he wants.
Dudes came to Mar-a-Lago. All these guys came down there before. What do you think they went down there for?
Yeah.
To pledge their loyalty, to kiss the motherfucking ring. You know what I'm saying? They didn't go down there just to, to toy around and joke around with this motherfucker.
Yeah.
They went. This is why Donald Trump nominated at least three people who have sexual misconduct allegations against them. Because he don't give a fuck about that. He cares about the fact that you're gonna kiss the ring.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that is so. It's based on loyalty. You got a con man that's running the White House now like like the mob. You know what I'm saying? It's about loyalty and are you gonna, what are you gonna, and I might need some dirt on you, so I might have somebody here that I got something on you. Where hey, you know what? If you act up, I'll pull this out on you.
Call Ratcliffe, see what's going on with that.
I mean, it was even with the Matt Gaetz thing. Nobody with a sane mind would have asked Matt Gaetz to be the attorney general, but Matt Gaetz got a lot of dirt, so he probably been able to manipulate that guy.
Yeah, you doing private organization background checks on people.
Yeah,
you're not allowing the FBI. The Federal Bureau of Investigation. We are about investigations. That is in our fucking name. But we're supposed to be the top investigative authority in the country. But nah, I mean, you can go ahead and put these people in charge of all of these powerful positions without having a background check by the FBI. Because why? You got a grudge against the FBI?
Yeah. So, and if that ain't saying fuck the police, I don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, but January 20th, man, I want everybody who's listening, if you know anybody, to have them understand what a executive order is.
Oh, there's gonna be plenty of those.
Because come January 20, all these executive orders are going to be executed by the people we're talking about right now to centralize this government to where he has absolute power. And then when you're looking 6 months later, and he can do what? And when all that's coming up, please reference this show that we're talking about right now. We kind of told you in shows before this, we kind of told you this was going to happen.
And he's got two type of people in office right now. Okay, he has the people who actually know what they're doing and are going to be able to execute the things that he wants. And then he has TV personalities that he can put in front of a camera and they're going to be able to spin it to the American public so that you'll be freaking being told you're getting Kool-Aid and you're getting poison, like some Jim Jones shit. He's created a perfect storm. He has people who's gonna be able to tell you, hey, this is okay. This needs to happen to keep you safe. And that's why he hired. If you look at it, cabinet positions, who usually were not very qualified, they understood optics. They understand how to get in front of a camera. To an extent, I think he learned that from Pete Buttigieg. Because if you look at the Biden administration, Pete Buttigieg goes on Fox News every week and does better than the secretary at explaining Biden policies. So I think what he did is he said, I'm going to go do nuclear with this. We're going to do one better than that. Everybody who's in my administration that has a big position, they're going to be able to do that. Because he realizes keeping the American public from freaking the hell out, that's 80% of the game, is getting people to walk willingly into the fire.
Well, you got to distract people when you're robbing them. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and don't get me wrong, America, we gonna get robbed. You know what I'm saying? That is, you know, if you believe in that, things gonna happen. We our purse is getting taken. It ain't coming back. You know what I'm saying? So that's just where we're at. But I mean, yeah, it's crazy. And once again, this all ties back into the thing that he knew nothing about, which is called Project 2025, which basically he wrote down everything. Well, the Heritage Foundation wrote down everything, and they've been doing it since the Reagan administration. And he decided to pick it up. If he made office again, he was going to put it into play. And everybody's putting into play right now are the authors of that. These are people who wrote it. So that's what we're showing you today.
And one of the main authors of the whole shebang bang was Stephen Miller. That's what we're going to talk about next. Donald Trump selected Stephen Miller as the Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy. Miller will oversee the administration's agenda. His involvement in Project 2025 highlights a continued emphasis on conservative policy implementation. Ace, what are some of your concerns with this nomination?
I'm a big fan of the West Wing. I don't know if everybody looks at that, right? So if you look at the West Wing, they break down what the West Wing looks like. And they have one position, the Deputy of the Chief of Staff, right? I can remember some of the characters, and for whatever reason, I can't remember his name. Toby's one of the guys, and then the older gentleman is the Chief of Staff, and he runs around the president. And they got, I think his name is Josh. He's the Deputy Chief of Staff. End of the day, end of the story, that cat makes everything run.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you got the people in the position, but the guy who's pushing the button, the dude who's going down to the hill, the dude who's doing all of that is a Deputy Chief of Staff. And I think his name was Josh. I can't remember off the top of my head, but awesome show. But understand, when you're hearing these positions that people don't have, that you don't understand, are usually the people that are doing the work and making the things run. Stephen Miller has been put into that position. Why is that messed up? Well, Stephen Miller is one of the main architects of Project 2025. Probably when they say Project 2025, the mandate of leadership, his name comes up. A lot of crazy things that he did. He wrote the Muslim ban pretty much when Trump was first in office. He did that. He's big on the mass deportation. He's going to write the stuff. Homan's going to enforce the stuff pretty much. He's into building these what they call them immigration camps and pushing people over there. Here's the scary part about that. Stephen Miller is of Jewish descent. His family, his grandparents came through Ellis Island from World War II. They're immigrants. He's an immigrant family. He's talking about doing the same thing to people that were done to his people.
Yeah.
Ain't that sick? You know what I'm saying? He backs up and follows our right-wing agenda to the letter. Doesn't even bend away from that. Some crazy things that he's talking about that a lot of far right-wing extremists talk about is deporting families, not only if they're immigrants, but even if they're U.S. born. You know what I'm saying? So, and with that being said, they really want to rewrite the Constitution that if you're nationally born, they can take your citizenship away, even if you're a natural born U.S. citizen. These are extreme right-wing agendas that Stephen Miller follow. And stripping some immigrants of their citizenship, of course, they want to do that. Well, how do we all get salt in that table? A lot of black people say, well, immigration is not my problem. Well, if they go in the Constitution and say we're going to take away national born citizenship, it becomes your problem. Because now they can say we're not, even though we were here born naturally, generations, they can say we're not citizens. They can do that to Native Americans, which they've been trying to do for the longest.
Yeah.
They've been trying to wipe them off the earth. Right-wing extremists. So, like, a lot of people, when they understand, we start talking about politics, like where some things aren't your problem, and you vote against those things, you're really voting for the people that are really just trying to get rid of you or do things against you. You got to pay attention. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like a lot of people, like, hey, it's a lot of people that voted for Trump because racism and immigration weren't their problem. You know what I'm saying? And like you just explained, Steve, just a few minutes ago, it can become your problem when you start paying $45 for a salad. You know what I'm saying? Immigration ain't your problem. It can when you find out they repealed the 14th Amendment or something of that nature. You're not a legal citizen anymore. Yeah, that's probably extreme on my end, but it can happen because you have extreme people talking about that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Stephen Miller, who's in one of the top positions in the White House right now, backs that up hypocritically when he came from a immigrant family himself. What's the difference? What was the difference in the 40s when your family is trying to get over here and coming through Ellis Island? I forgot that the Statue of Liberty doesn't welcome everybody. They only welcome European immigrants because that ain't a problem. That's never been a problem.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, the southern border is just, it's crazy. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. And I want to note something. When you look at this, you never see any truly pragmatic reforms in immigration ever suggested. Now, pragmatically, there are a certain number of people who might not legally, might be here illegally and might be undocumented. Okay. Pragmatically, some of those people are going to have, in order for America to function, not function good, just function. Some of those people are going to have to stay. You have never heard, and I hate to say this, anybody on the left or the right say, you know what? We need to get some type of reform so these people can stay. We need to get some type of reform so these people can get their damn paperwork right. So what you're seeing is this. The right uses immigration to scare people. The left, because of the right, is afraid to put forth that type of program because they don't want to seem weak on immigration.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to have some type of true immigration reform, we're going to have to acknowledge some of these people are going to have to be here. Mm-hmm. Some of these people are needed. A lot of these people are needed. You can't look at people, and I think that it is different in different parts of the country because I feel like maybe if you're somewhere in the Midwest, within your ties to immigration might be slightly different than a person's ties to immigration in Texas or Florida, because you're not really seeing the benefits. You're not seeing, okay, well, these people are working, these agriculture jobs. These people are helping in the housing industry. These people are business owners. Okay. These people are employing people. When these people leave, this would damage our economy to a very large extent. And if we don't really look at that and acknowledge that, as a country, we are going to be in trouble. And you people who voted on your bottom line, your pocketbook, which it seems like a lot of people did, your pocketbook is going to be affected, but not in the way that you thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably like it's crazy putting the governor of South Dakota in charge of immigration. Like
she should be the head dog catcher.
She ain't got no idea what the hell's going on with immigration, but she's in charge of it. Yeah, man. Things are serious, people. I don't know anything else to say about it. And a lot of people, I don't think, took it seriously. I mean, I think they got kind of tired of the shit show of the election and just was tired and over it. And some people made some choices that I think they're going to really regret come January 2020. And that's not, look, I'm an independent. I like a lot of Democratic people. I don't, I like a few Republican people. You know what I'm saying? But I consider myself pretty moderate in the middle. But I base my thing on a lot of common sense. if a duck quacks, it quacks. And Donald Trump said this is what he's going to do, and this is what he's doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And Project 2025 is a smart version of him saying what he's doing. Some smart people got behind him, evil fucking people, but smart people got behind him and came up with a plan that he lied about and said he didn't know nothing about when he was implementing this plan from the beginning. Since his 4 years of being out of office, this is what he jumped up and inherited. And like Malik said, he went through and he's designated, I didn't like this last time, I'm gonna try to eliminate that. I don't like what they did this time, I'm gonna try to eliminate that. This is the doctrine that's doing that for him. You know what I'm saying? And these are the people that he's putting in place to do that for him. So
yeah, and he's leveraged fear to help him get that done. Like things that most people didn't care about, now all of a sudden it's a big concern because he's making it one. The FBI, who's ever worried about the FBI? Well, maybe Malcolm X and people like that, but besides like our community, who's been worried about the FBI like doing shit that they ain't supposed to be doing? Just us, right? Now all of a sudden he
got to give a shit about that.
Now it's scary. Who cared about the FCC like monitoring like the news or like making sure
only social media?
Or who cared about
social media being
making
there?
Sure that someone who is a source that does not want to be identified is identified. Like you can't have sources that you have to tell who your source is. Who cared about that before? Nobody.
King George in the Revolutionary War is the only person wanted to do that.
But
shit.
Trump cares about it, so he can act, so he can do something to them, so he can act on them if they say something about him. Now all of a sudden it's a big deal and it's scary, and it's not. It's scary because it's scary for him. He's using fear, he's leveraging it to make you think that the things that he cares about and wants to get rid of are something that are impacting you. To your point, San Antonio, yeah, we know about like immigration. We're not as close as El Paso or other places like that, and but we know there's not people running around here. Immigrants is trying to take over shit and run the city,
eating dogs and shit.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we closer to the border that they're worried about than Tulsi Gabbard ever has been.
We were an hour and a half away.
Or Christy Nome. She don't know nothing about no damn border.
Sorry. Yeah, Christy Nome. Well, she's ever been. So, I mean, it's crazy, man. But at the end of the day, it's sad that he's able to do this, but he's the president. We can't stop him. But what can we do? Contact your congressman, your local positions, your state positions. Make them aware that you don't like this shit, so that they don't confirm the people that they can stop from getting confirmed. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Don't just sit here and cry and complain about it. I'm contacting them. I'm sending emails. I'm calling, leaving messages. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want. Now, it might not work so much here in Texas because you know who our people are.
Damn Ted Cruz.
Thank you. But I'm still doing it. I'm still calling. And anybody else who's watching this, don't just sit here and complain. Do something. If you're watching this show, if you want to change the way that this shit is happening, stop these people from getting confirmed. You know what I'm saying? Now, I do want to get into some of the comments that we had today because the comment section was, we had a little back and forth in it, not too much, but some good stuff by one of our own, Mrs. Whitaker here.
Oh.
So first comment that she had on here was about Brendan Carr. So Carr has expressed intention to address what he perceives as a censorship cartel involving big tech and media monitors aiming to dismantle efforts that, in his view, suppress diverse viewpoints.
His view.
Yeah, so
here we go.
Personal views. I mean,
like I said, it's the left and the right, but the left is getting censored, is going to get censored. The right is not.
Yep. Also, we had a comment on here. It said, given our location in San Antonio, Texas, a city with a significant immigrant population, these developments may have direct implications on our community, just like you said, Steve.
It's going to hurt Texas and Florida and actually, believe it or not, Mississippi. Those are the places where it's going to really, really, in California, it's really going to hurt us to a very large extent. And what you're going to see is prices go up. You're going to see, food and vegetable and everything. You're going to see, a lot of times stuff that we used to be able to do, hire somebody to do, we have to start learning how to do it ourselves. It's not going to be easy, y'all. It's not going to be how people think it is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just want to remind you guys, if you want to call into the show, you got something to say, hit us up at 210-728-6581. That's 210-728-6581. Give us a call. Let's chat. Let's talk about what's going on in this Project 2025 United States government that we got coming up. All right, let's see. Also, impact to entrepreneurship. So, Wallanda said immigrants are more likely than native-born residents to start businesses. So that
Exactly.
boosts local economies and creates jobs.
Exactly. And something else, I mean, I think that you got to realize these are people, man. These are people, and they got kids, they got families, just like we got families. And especially if someone, you know, someone comes over to Mexico, it's not that far. You see people who came over from Central America, that's a long way to come and not have some drive, not have some heart. You got to have some drive and have some heart to go walking through a whole bunch of countries to take that perilous journey to come here because you believe in the American dream. These people who believe in the American dream a lot of times way more than an American or person who's born in America will believe in it, because they had to walk and they had to struggle and they had to fucking crawl to get here.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get here and they're demonized. And don't get me wrong, because there's some horrible people who come in, because there's some horrible people who's already here.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got some bad people, but most of these people are not bad people. And most of these people, like you said, they're more likely to be entrepreneurs. They're more likely to be successful because they had to work their fucking ass off just to get here.
Mm-hmm.
Just to get here, just to be here.
Yeah.
And for us to always sit and blame the motherfucker who busted their ass to get here? Really? I mean, because we're already here. We've been here. You know, we've been here for generations. We've been disrespecting and everything, but we have been here.
But Steve, you got to remember, they coming all this way to rape people. They don't got pussy where they from. They,
Maybe not.
Well, I mean, let me break it down like this. You know, every great American story, I don't know a great American story doesn't start from an immigration story. Most of the big stories you talk about. But here's the funny thing about it. They always talk about criminals. Well, goddamn, what was the fucking Italian mafia or the Irish mafia? They were criminals that came over, and all their stories start off. I've seen Once Upon a Time in America.
Yeah.
They started off, the people came over on Ellis Island.
Gangs
They
in
landed
New
in New York. They fucking became fucking hooligans and thieves and became rich. The next thing you know, that leads to Sopranos, and we fucking glorify them. Criminals. That's where they were.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah,
were. I mean, the Italian mob, as much as we glorify them and lift them up, Al Capone was a fucking criminal. You know,
but real talk,
Bugsy Siegel was a criminal.
But real talk, for every Al Capone, you had 4, 5,
Exactly.
6,000 motherfuckers who was just regular people trying to come over here.
But what I'm saying is, we don't demonize the Italians or anybody like that and talk about that. And they're the most popular criminals that we probably have in the country.
Or the Ukrainians, man. The Ukrainians are doing crazy shit right now.
Exactly. Russian mob.
Yeah,
all
the
these
Russian
mobs come
mafia.
over.
Yes, these white folk.
But we want to focus on southern
brown
border
people and the
immigrants and talk
black
about
folk.
that they're criminals. Yeah,
Yes.
they got cartels down there. But guess what? The cartels ain't sneaking over here. They're flying over here first class, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got money. They built tunnels if they want to come over here. They come over here legally. You're not blocking them from coming to the country and selling drugs if that's what you're talking about. They got the means to do it. The people we talking about, the people Steve talking about, the people just want to come over and want to be a goddamn maid at Marriott. And that's what they want to do and make money.
Yes.
Something
You know,
that you don't want to fucking do.
It's funny, man. We to Steve's point earlier and to your point, Ace,
Oh shit.
we got don't worry about it. We just gonna have to get it later.
All right.
We got people who are trying to like come over here and take jobs that a lot of people who live here who are U.S. citizens don't want to do. They want to work in hospitality. They get jobs in restaurants as waiters. They get jobs in the fields. They get jobs, doing things that we need. And to your point, Steve, if these individuals disappear tomorrow, entire industries will crash. Prices will skyrocket. There are like people think about immigrants picking fruit. There's immigrants all up and down the food chain process, all up and down it. And these individuals may be illegal immigrants in very high numbers that will impact the price of our food in, unbelievable ways. It's not going to just be some simple shit that goes down.
And auto mechanics. Look at the mechanics, man. Yeah. It's gonna cost money. It's gonna cost us in places we're not thinking it's gonna cost us. How many auto mechanics who look, they don't be speaking English real good, but will fix your car real quick.
Look, the tire shop. That's what I'm about to say. When you go get your tire fixed, the flat tire over there I drive right over there down Calabria.
Yeah.
Outside the loop.
$100 for a used tire out there.
Right. Fixing flats and shit like that. Yep, exactly.
For 35 years.
Yeah,
exactly.
So yeah, man, end of the day, man, like I said, it's just a bunch of hypocritical stuff going on here politically, and there's a lot of dumbass people that are believing it. I'm gonna just say what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
is a criminal, so maybe he gets into the.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So it's just it's a lot of regular people that are looking at this and believing some shit, and they've been doing this for centuries. Rich people have been telling poor people, selling them the dream forever. And fucking them at the end. And there's a lot of poor people out there that are believing a lot of people that don't have the issues and the problems that you have.
Yep.
And they're telling you how bad the fucking world is. Well, end of the day, in the story, ain't nothing wrong with their fucking world anyway, other than getting more of your goddamn money one way or shape or form. So
I do want to comment on what Tina said on here. Kind of made some points about entrepreneurship and the contributions to the workforce that immigrants do. And Tina made a good point. She said, our government in Texas doesn't care about any of that. They don't care or look at the current and future implications for our cost of living. So we kind of just touched on that a second ago. It's crazy. Wanda commented about Ratcliffe. She said, Ratcliffe's political impact is characterized by his alignment with President Trump's agenda, his advocacy for intelligence, transparency, and his focus on addressing foreign threats to U.S. security.
Except Russia. That's the only one they own.
Yeah, he loves them.
I don't want to do this. Jesus.
Yeah. So
January 20, y'all. Look at that day. That's the day the world changed.
Yeah. We also got Michelle Torres on here. She said Trump rigged the election, paid with Bitcoin from Elon, who manipulated and paid off for Trump. Recount. No one liked Trump. Trump sold America. To have Putin take over the United States of America. Putin owned. Trump sold us out. Trump is sick. Trump's not going to make it and gives the USA to Elon. So basically, Michelle don't like Trump for some reason. I appreciate that though, Michelle. For real. I mean, everything you're saying.
Now we lost the election. I ain't gonna say that.
We lost the election, but I mean, to her point, you got to think about it. Like, how did we lose? There's a lot of variables that I always talk about. Like somehow he motivated the independents and the undecided to vote for him. But one of the things that I've always been concerned about with elections is money.
Oh yeah.
And to her point, without Elon Musk, because he was Kamala was killing it, getting all the money for the campaign. But then Elon said, "I'm gonna give you billions, son, Bitcoin money, whatever, wherever he gets that money from." He just came in and bought it. He did buy it because I've always said this. I think that, and I know people ain't going to agree with me, but I don't give a flying, you know what? Elections you should not be able to raise money for your campaign. Here's what I think should happen. Once they get down to like the two major parties, if you get like a certain amount of votes or whatever, like you have to qualify. Not like you win let's say you win your party's primary, right? And maybe it's the Green Party or other parties too. But if you hit a certain number, I don't know what that number might be, you get $1 million for your campaign or $20 million. I don't know. And that's all you get. You can't take any money from anybody else. You can't get donations. Everybody gets the same amount of money and you run off that shit. Because then you stop shit like Elon Musk saying, I'm going to buy this election or all these other big money. Now, of course, Elon Musk, if he wants to, he can make his own commercial about and support Trump if he wants to. Nobody can stop him from doing that. Like anybody else can do all of that shit, but for your campaign, you get a certain budget from the government,
Mhm.
and that's it. No more.
That sounds
Or
too
from
right
your-
right there, right?
But
there.
see,
That
what's
sounds too good, right?
Yeah.
Like the motherfuckers ain't gonna do that shit because there's too much in it for them to keep the system broken the
it's
way
that,
it is.
It's that under table money, you know. I don't want to account for, like, you know, that's that Clarence Thomas money. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Well, and if you had it like that, to where each campaign would do it, just like you were saying, oh, well, Elon Musk could give money, then you would still have super PACs. You kind of do have to make it so, you know what, this is what you got. And people can go door to door and people can do stuff like that. But people can't go and just flood the market with information about you just because they have the money to do it, even if it's not part of your campaign.
My point is no super PACs though.
Yeah,
Get rid of them shits.
Yeah.
Like just this is your budget. Everybody gets the same amount. Here's your budget. Your party gives you whatever that budget is, and everybody can only have a certain just like, okay, look, here's the thing. How come a football player got a cap on his motherfucking salary, or a team got a cap on their salary, or what? But these motherfuckers, for politicians, ain't no cap. Raise as much motherfucking money as you want to, use it however the fuck you want to, as long as it's for your campaign, right?
Yeah.
Like there needs to be a cap. There needs to be something, and I think everybody who's going to be for the election should have the same amount of money. That way, it's equitable across the board. Like then you have to be smart about your money. Use it in wise ways, right?
Yeah, and to piggyback off of what you said, if you did that, people who complain because they don't like the Democrat Party and they don't like the Republican Party, you would have an opportunity for people who are in the Green Party, people who are in the Libertarian Party, people who are in these other parties. They would have an opportunity to have an equal voice because there wouldn't be so much money in politics.
Exactly my point.
And if you had that, then you would probably have a government who would be more willing to get stuff done because they would be afraid to get voted out of office because the money wouldn't be there.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's utopian, but I love it.
It's I don't know if it's utopian, but I do get your point. Like these motherfuckers don't want to give up.
Yeah, on either side, you can say that.
On either side. I'm not saying any side. I'm saying no politician wants to give up all that money. And there are corrupt politicians on both sides of the fence.
Sad part of politics is about the allocation of resources, and resources usually come with money. Take it with oil. Why is oil so powerful? Because oil's got a shitload of money, and they can go influence the things that are going to affect them. Why did Elon Musk get in there? Because he has a shitload of money. What's he going after? He's going after deregulating government to be able to do the things he wants to do in all of his business interests. I mean, it's self-serving. The FCC guy, we talked about it today. The FCC's been up social media's ass forever. You know what I'm saying? You know, what else is he going after? The electric car business. He wants to be able to just be on top of that. That's his self-serving point in being that. And he just picked the right candidate that was going to allow him to do that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's sad and unfortunate, but until the people that have enough money to influence, unless we kind of can control them, which obviously we found a way that we can't, and they want to get it, you know, unfortunately, it would be great to say you only get 20 million, but then somebody who's got a shitload of money is going to influence some lawmaker like a Clarence Thomas to make sure that law doesn't get passed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think that part of what it is for this to change. And this is part of what they're doing. They're starting to try to break down the education system. We need to start, and if they're not going to do it in school, we need to start training our children to ask the proper questions. Because if you can discern what is disinformation or what is right and wrong, then you have a better chance of picking a good candidate. You can tell when even your own party is maybe blowing some smoke up your ass. Because as a Democrat, when I was listening to Harris speak about the economy, I was like, yeah, that's all true, but inflation is going fucking crazy. How come you ain't explained? And I understood why inflation was going crazy. I understood it. But I'm asking the TV or asking, you know, why aren't you giving a better explanation to where people who don't understand will have a clear understanding? And they didn't do that. And
so my question to you, and we had this conversation before, I'm like, why didn't Trump need to do that?
Mhm.
Trump didn't
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well,
we shouldn't have this high standard for one side and not the other. Trump don't need to do that. Why does she?
My deal with that is most of the people that were on the inflation thing don't know what the fuck inflation is.
And that's
anyway.
why you needed to simplify.
But you can't even simplify. I mean, what's simple? The simple
Trump
thing
saying
is
the
this.
same thing. He's like, I'm going to end inflation.
Well,
and that's it.
Well,
He don't
simple
tell you
thing
how.
is this.
He don't say nothing. He don't explain it.
Common sense. Yeah, the common sense thing is this. We went through it. COVID prices were higher after COVID. But guess what? If we go back, take our prices and compare it to the 70s, they're going to be higher than they were in the 70s. Why? That's called inflation. Shit gets higher year after year. It's been like that our whole fucking lives. Politicians just take it and they use it to manipulate people in their voice. Man, inflation is high because of this and inflation. Dude, I don't care when Trump gets in office. Ain't shit going down.
Oh, shit ain't going down.
Because businesses ain't going to let that shit go. HEB's not going to call up and say, hey, man, you know, I could charge you $4, but shit, Trump's in office. I'm only going to charge you $3 now. Like, who the fuck believes that?
But this is the thing. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that she was wrong because when she was giving the numbers, those are the numbers, okay? And as somebody who understands numbers, that is correct. But when you talk to somebody and they're hurting, the first thing you need to do is you need to say, you know what? You're right. Such and such and such and such is bad. Here's why such and such and such and such is bad. Kind of like Eminem in 8 Mile, when he did the rap at the end of the thing, he was like, yeah, I'm poor. Yeah, I'm white. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. You eliminate all of that bullshit, and then nobody has anything to come with you.
But I think she did that. I think they did it with the Inflation Reduction Act. I think she talked about it when she talked about going after these places that are price gouging. People just weren't fucking listening. End of the day, within the end of the story with Kamala Harris, it came down to two things. She was black and she was a woman. That's
she was
it.
Black and she was
and
a woman.
lot of people that went out there and voted, who said they're going to vote for her, they went in and pulled that thing because of those two reasons. It wasn't nothing else. It wasn't because she wasn't the smartest candidate. It wasn't that she didn't have a plan. That's bullshit. She always talked about her plan. They just didn't listen to it.
Exactly.
End of the day in the story, black woman. That was it. Just like Hillary. Only reason they didn't vote for Hillary because she was a woman. She was outclassed. Come on, Trump.
She was smartest, one of the
smartest
smartest
woman probably ever ran for president. America, until they honestly, and unfortunately, there's a lot of women out there the same way that vote for their husband. They honestly get over the fact that they don't believe women can run this country. We're always gonna have that problem. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't want another Obama situation. So you know what I'm saying? So that's it. That's the election. Anybody say anything else is full of shit. It wasn't nothing about, because like he said, we don't hold Trump to that thing. Trump didn't have no Immigration Reduction Act. He ain't talk about that shit. All he talked about is how fucked up everything was, how he hated everybody else.
Yeah.
But she has to be fucking perfect on this end and say everything. Bullshit.
Yeah. But I'm not saying, okay, this is the thing though. I'm not saying that what she said was wrong because what she said was right. Okay. What I'm saying is this, and this is the difference between what Trump said and what Harris said. When Trump speaks, he speaks in the most simplest, plain bullshit way that you can speak.
Because he's not smart enough to speak.
Nah.
But the thing about it is this, motherfuckers who are not smart like him, listen to him and they get it and they say, you know what, you're right. And when he would say, everybody's broke, don't nobody have any money to do anything.
Which is a lie.
But people felt like that.
That's a lie, though.
That's a lie. A lot of people.
I mean, but it's still a lie, though. In the economy right now is better. It's been in 40 fucking years. But anybody can always, because there's always going to be somebody who's broke. All right. So you can always say that shit. There's always somebody out there who's mismanaging their fucking money. All right. So they're fucking broke. But it's not because of the economy. That's because they overspending and doing what the fuck they do in their lives. It's not because, oh man, I can't go in and buy some eggs. I can't remember when I saw like depression type shit, like people standing in soup lines and shit like that.
We ain't never had that.
We saw that during COVID. We saw that during COVID because of the situation, but that wasn't because people were fucking broke. That was because we had a fucking disease out there killing everybody.
And every time somebody said something, and every time somebody said something about inflation, the first thing she should have said was, you know what? Let's look at what happened with COVID. Because we all know that's why we have inflation like we do right now, okay?
I heard her say that. I don't believe there's anything she could have said.
I heard her say it, but she didn't tie it to it enough.
She could have tied it. She could have locked it with a lock. She could put a chain on that shit.
She didn't dumb it down enough to say, look, all of this was because of COVID.
It wasn't on her. They weren't going to go pull that thing because she was black and she was a woman. That was it.
We need to stop trying to blame her for something she did not do. She did not make our country against black women being president.
Mm-mm.
She explained things. She talked to the point.
She laid out a
She
whole
laid
agenda.
out plans. It doesn't matter. Those same people who you said like Trump talks in simple terms, and they said, "Yeah, you're right." Looked at her and said, when he didn't say shit, and he said, "You're all suffering and you're bad, and I know I'm going to help get these prices down." And then they told Trump, "You're right." And then she broke down the whole plan, and they looked at her and said, "Well, you're not explaining what you're going to do." You know what I'm saying? They didn't ask him shit. They didn't tell him that. Why not look at him when he just says, "Well, you're hurting and you're in trouble, and I'm going to just dumb everything down. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do."
Because I'm not going to do nothing.
Right, but they don't ask him. So, Trump, what are you going to do about it then? I'm hurting, motherfucker. What am I going to do? Nothing. Oh, okay. What you going to do, Kamala? You just told me your whole plan. What you going to do?
Okay.
I just told you. Why
you gotta
is
look
the
at it
standard way the fuck up here
Because she's a black
for her?
That part. But we already know this, though.
That's my point. What can she do about that, Steve?
But she
change
did
her
it.
color?
She did it.
Can she change her gender?
No, it's not about. It's not about.
There's nothing more she could do.
This is the thing, okay? This is the thing. And I mean, all of us here grew up in black households. We know our mom and dad would always tell us, when you go in here, when you're dealing with other people, you're dealing with it as a black person. You're going to have to come and shit a little different.
She did.
She did that.
But what she did is she did this. She came at it from an intellectual standpoint. She came at it in a way, like I said, people who are, and that's why she got more of the educated vote. Okay?
Well, the people that didn't hear her were not listening. They didn't look at the DNC. They didn't follow her. They looked at Fox News. And they look at, you can't name one economic agenda for the middle class that Trump talked about in step one.
He was
not taxing tips or whatever the fuck that was.
Exactly. He didn't.
She talked about $25,000 in new homeowners. She talked about helping out small businesses. She talked about going after which probably hurt her more, going after the big corporations when it came to price gouging. All that shit was in her economic plan.
And who doesn't understand that? Everybody, I heard you say like she needed to say it in a different way or approach it differently. Who don't understand all the stuff that he just said? You don't have to have a college degree to understand.
You're gonna buy a new home, I'm gonna give you $25,000.
You know what I'm saying? And everything that she said. Nobody needs a college degree to understand that.
They didn't give a fuck. They got caught up with the entertainment aspect of it, and that's where they went and placed a vote. I have no excuse for anybody black who voted for Trump.
Oh no,
I don't.
Absolutely not.
I don't, and I understand. And I got some friends that fit that category, and I'm sorry if I'm hurting your feelings on this. Just don't understand it.
Well,
I can't.
Conspiracy lyricist is on the chat, and he said he agrees with Steve. He said Kamala laid out zero plans. She made statements without specifics. So maybe not agree with Steve, but he's leaning towards.
No, because to me, she laid out a perfect plan, and she was articulate about her plan, and she gave the information, considerably more information than Trump gave. I'm not saying that she wasn't right. What I'm saying is that low information voters, and I think that this is part of that whole media cycle thing. Maybe some of that was more. You had media up here that was for the left, and then you had it all the way down here for the right, like all sorts of tiers. So I feel like maybe not necessarily like what she was saying, but how it was getting trickled down to the public.
Sound bit politics, and they did a better job at sound bit politics.
Yes.
Think about everything Trump did at the end of the election was sound bites.
Yep.
That were going to be able to be nice and short,
no context,
and
no
be able
plan,
to, be able
no
to put into like a TikTok format and get out to people.
Yeah, like
you can't do that with a economic plan. You can't sound bit that shit.
Yeah.
You got to have people sit there and talk about it. But if you talk about Haitians eating dogs, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But here's the thing with this dude,
bullshit like that, that'll be put in a sound bite.
And here's the thing with this dude, man. He, like you said, he don't read shit. He don't know. He's like the motherfucker that the CEO of a company. He ain't doing none of the legwork. He ain't down there running shit. He ain't putting a plan together. He's not thinking about how to do this and how to do that. He's got people. all these people who helped to write Project 2025,
Mm-hmm.
we gonna write this plan. All you got to do is get out there, like you said, say your sound bites, bro.
Mhm.
Because once we get in the office, we got the plan. We'll execute everything for you. You don't got to do shit, sir. Let me kiss your ass, lick your boots,
Mhm.
and you get out there and look pretty. He even says, like, what does he say? That fucking statement about like casting call.
Yeah.
You know, straight from the casting call. Like, I'm like, because you look a certain way, like you're gonna be on stage. And to your point earlier, he wants to get the media people on his team.
Yeah.
People who can communicate in a certain way to influence people and get
Yes.
people who may not be as, I don't know, people who can be influenced
Yes.
by words. He wants them to be influenced. And he wants the right people who can do that, right? He's not out there for you and me. He's out there for himself. Everybody he's put into these nominations for these positions are people who are going to make things, give him the capability to do whatever the fuck he wants as president, right? So at the end of the day, man, you know, I think we need to do what I said earlier. Contact your politicians. Get emails, phone calls, whatever you got to do. Don't just sit up here and whine about the shit that you don't like it, this, that, and the other. If you don't think that these nominations are good nominations, get on your computer, get on your phone, your cell phone, whatever, and contact your local, your congressman, and make sure that they know you do not want these fools to be, what's the word? The nominees
Confirmed.
to be confirmed. Thank you.
And we don't want them to take a recess, so he can do a recess
exactly.
confirmation, which he's trying to go for right
Yeah.
now.
So I think we're at time, man. So I know we got a whole lot of conversation going on. It was a great conversation, man, but we'll go ahead and let it go for the day. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate you, man, for being on the show as always. Ace coming through as always with the knowledge. Tina keeping me real on the comments. And everybody who was chatting with us today, appreciate y'all for doing your thing too. And next week's Thanksgiving, so we're not going to be doing a show during the Thanksgiving week.
Happy
Also want to send a
Thanksgiving,
shout
y'all.
out to my man Ace. Happy birthday, my man.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Appreciate it.
And we will see you guys again next time.
Thanks.
Man.